I'm not getting on Dunleavy. He's had a ballsier type of trade more recently than John Lynch.
It's just dumb football.
Jimmy Butler on line one. Now, Jimmy Butler's hurt. There was, some things that took place last year that weren't great, the Jonathan Kuminga saga. But I'm not going to say that Dunleavy's risk-averse. And yeah, has John Lynch made some big fat trades? Absolutely. Trent Williams, Christian McCaffrey. They traded up to get Trey Lance, even though that was a failure. They've done risky things. But lately, Joe, they do seem a little risk-averse. And we talked about that last offseason, saying, hey, the goal of last offseason was what? No drama, get out of the bloated contracts, trim the fat, all right, clear the house there, let's get the books in order, and we'll go from there. And they had a lot of injuries, and they were able to overcome them.
I don't think their books are in order.
Well, that's also what I wanted to get at. If that was the goal, then they failed with the books getting in order because they do have a lot of dead weight, dead cap hit potential. And I do think the Brandon Aiyuk situation on top of all of that, the drama, I don't know if they could have seen it coming, but the injury definitely spiraled that entire thing, and now it's just a mess.
Well, it just feels like the Niners have been doubling down and moving money. So, like, for example, let's say you owe money to someone or whatever, right? And you just keep renegotiating how much money you owe to someone and keep changing the terms. You still owe the money. You're just kicking it down the road longer.
Instead of my monthly payment being, $500, let's do it bi-weekly at this rate, and just keep doing it and changing.
Eventually, you still have to owe the money.
Correct.
And so I want you to think about this. And again, I have supported all of these. All these guys were drafted 10 years ago. Kittle, CMC, Trent was even before that. They've been doubling, tripling, quadrupling down on a very, very old core, and that core is expensive. And it makes a lot of sense. They've been good. They've been winning big-time games, and you're trying to win it all. And the problem is that as they've renegotiated a lot of these deals, guys are now older, more injured than they've been, and you got to pay the piper at some point. Like Nick Bosa. I look at the numbers on Nick Bosa. I wanted them to pay Nick Bosa.
Yeah.
Like we all did. I think everybody did. I think he earned the money. Looking back, oh, God, that deal has not aged well. Let's just call it what it is. Has Nick Bosa been a top 5 defensive end in the NFL since signing his deal?
Probably not.
Probably not.
No! Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
And I love Bosa, but come on.
415. I wouldn't have traded Purdy for Myles Garrett. The Rams made a boom or bust move for Stafford. When he retires next year, I don't think Garrett will be throwing the football, and the Rams will be screwed then. I'm not even sure if Stafford is retiring next year.
Who knows?
I have no idea. I'm not putting that. He was just the MVP last year.
But I think that's the mindset of the Rams is they've been all in, it feels like, every year. And yet, while the Niners have felt like they're all in, why does our finance and our draft feel so all over the place? Like, I look at their books, like, you see how clean their books are?
Yeah, 510 right here. Next year is 2027. The Rams have $53 million
That's what I'm saying.
in cap space. The Niners have negative $11 million. Negative. They're in the red.
And that's without accounting for all the dead money on Brandon Aiyuk's deal. I mean, again, I showed you all the money that they spent. To me, the 3 deals that have really, there's just been a domino effect that they haven't been able to get out of. It's like a graveyard. The Buckner deal, which, Armstead money, and then Armstead dead money, and then we're drafting Kinlaw, and then we're paying Kinlaw to go away, and then let's go get Javon Hargrave, and he's making $17 million this year on the dead cap. Then you look at the wide receiver position. How much money have they spent on Debo and Aiyuk?
A lot.
Now throw in Pearsall. Now throwing Mike Evans.
Yep.
Now throwing Juwan Jennings.
Yep.
Now throwing Stribling.
Yeah.
Right? They've thrown a lot of assets at that position. So, yeah, it's just their cupboard at some point is now run empty, and they got to pay the piper. Like the Kittle deal, I'd have paid Kittle. We all would have paid Kittle. He's only making like $16 million on the cap. It's not that bad.
No.
The CMC deal does not look good.
No. And we could all acknowledge that Christian McCaffrey was their MVP last year, while also acknowledging he's lost a step, and they were a one of the worst teams rushing the ball yards per game.
Yeah.
It just wasn't, that's not all on him. That's a combination of things. Don't get it twisted. But Christian McCaffrey is not the Christian McCaffrey, of 3-4 years ago. He's just not. He's got bilateral Achilles tendonitis. The guy has to go overseas to get treatment on things. I still think he could be good, but there's a reason they drafted K'Lon Black when they did this year, Joe.
I actually like K'Lon Black.
I hope so too. We'll see.
But you know what, Joe, the one thing that actually is a saving grace, if you just look at like cap numbers and the cap hit and how they've rolled the money around, the Purdy deal is not like weighing them down right now at all. Like it's actually one of their better numbers for one of their expensive players. It's really not that bad. It's other guys that are out of whack.
888-957-9570. I want to throw a question at the audience that we and the boss and Lubman and Carter, we're all just kicking around. So Matt, our program director, sent a text this morning. I thought it was interesting. I'm going to read it aloud. All right. This is called the Steiny and Guru Special. Anytime a star is available, going back to Giancarlo Stanton, Bryce Harper, Aaron Judge, Kevin Durant, LeBron James, Giannis, the list goes on. Most of the fan base says go out and get them. Some are the right move, some aren't. Was Myles Garrett the right type of move for the 49ers? And I don't want to go to all those players.
Well, read me off some of them. So Giancarlo Stanton. That was like 2017-ish.
Yes.
For like Carlos Arroyo and Christian Arroyo and a bunch of guys. I would have done that deal.
I would have too. Bryce Harper.
Yeah, I would have done that deal too. I think it would have changed who the Giants were over the last few years.
And we've learned now, because Bryce Harper's spoken about it on MLB Network amongst other outlets, that Bruce Bochy not being there was a huge factor in not coming.
Sure.
He's said that.
Maybe you should have paid him $70 million more.
Or that, exactly. Aaron Judge, a.k.a. Arson Judge.
God, I would
which feel like he just got, that was just
I don't
leverage.
think he ever wanted to come.
No, I don't think so either. Kevin Durant, got him.
That was a great deal.
Are you kidding me? Now he's in Minnesota playing with Justin Jefferson. LeBron James.
I mean, as in should we or as in we didn't?
They flirted with him. According to reports, the Lakers and the Warriors made the call 2 years ago. They flirted, but ultimately they passed.
I think they would have been better with LeBron James.
I think so too.
He's pretty good.
Now, would LeBron have put them over the top?
That's a different question.
Probably not.
That's a different question.
Giannis, right now, obviously, is kind of that guy for Warriors fans.
I'm glad we didn't make that deal as of today.
I would be more in on getting Myles Garrett
I'm
with
in
the
the minority
49ers. Yeah, I think I am too, but I would way more in the camp of getting Myles Garrett in a 49ers uniform than I am a Giannis Antetokounmpo in a Golden State Warriors uniform.
But what would they have had to give up? Like, think about it. They give up Jared Verse. We don't really have a guy that's he's got a $2 million cap hit. $2 million.
$2 million. I think that's a big factor we're not talking about enough. Now, let's say Ricky Pearsall, just for the sake of argument.
By the way, why does that $2 million cap hit matter? Because Cleveland is so up against the cap because of the Deshaun Watson deal.
One of the worst contracts, if not the worst contract in the history of the sport.
Yeah.
The guy's coming off an Achilles injury. It's been all the massage scandal, all of it. It's been an absolute dumpster fire in Cleveland, which has been known for a lot of dumpster fires for most of my lifetime. That being said, Jared Verse, the position matters too. Because let's say Ricky Pearsall was like living up to that first round bill. Let's just, for the sake of argument.
Yeah, hypotheticals.
Hypothetical. He was really good. He's still in a rookie deal. And then you call Cleveland saying, hey, we'll give you Ricky Pearsall, a couple first round picks, and we want Myles Garrett. I know you're laughing. It sounds like, why would we give up our 3-time DPOY for a wide receiver? No, we're not going to do that. So this goes back to, Joe, the inability to land anyone, any defensive end in the first, second, the third round, the Drake Jackson whiffs of the world, right? You know, you go back to, Javon Kinlaw as a defensive tackle. Michael Williams last year didn't even look like a defensive end. Like, their inability to hit on any of those picks bites them in the ass this time around when you're trying to sniff around and make trades, because you have to have assets that other teams covet. Who are the assets on the 49ers right now other teams covet? Legitimately. Like, can you do a power ranking for me right now? Number one, who is the number one asset on the 49ers other teams covet? I think for me, it's probably Fred Warner. Probably.
Yeah.
Right? Like, just going positional value, Not a lot of sexy linebackers these days.
I think you can make an argument for Diamond or Lenore just because cornerback is so hard to find.
You know what? That's a great point. And
I don't know.
And by the way.
And I still think Bosa has a lot of value, but at the right price point. Trent, same thing.
But I'm glad you brought up cornerback because I didn't even bring this up. Trent McDuffie, obviously part of the trade package earlier in this offseason, going from Kansas City to the Rams. So not only have they done the Myles Garrett trade and getting the best edge rusher in the game, they have one of the best lockdown all-pro cornerbacks in the game in Trent McDuffie, and they gave up their 29 overall pick.
Do you want to put a little salt in the wounds just for Niner fans this morning? The guy that they traded has been to the Pro Bowl 2 times. Now, you can say the Pro Bowl doesn't matter. He's 25 years old. The guy you just drafted to play D-end is also 25 years old in Romello Height.
Hey, we're excited about him, though. We're excited about him.
Sure, but, I mean, I'm just giving you an example.
I think it's an interesting conversation.
Ricky Pearsall, 26. Like, they just keep drafting these older guys, except Michael.
Who are the assets on the 49ers right now that could land you legitimate stars around the league? They don't. Purdy's the guy. It's probably
it's Purdy,
and it's the quarterback. But
I'm not trading Purdy
or Shanahan.
Honestly, Sam, it's a great take.
Well, he's their number one asset.
He is.
Someone in the YouTube chat had that.
Okay, well that's fine.
Well, they're 100% correct.
It's true. 925 Niners had an opportunity to land Garrett and blew it.
But this
get Bosa out of here and attach a couple first rounders. Why do we keep getting older and attached to vets? We have enough of that with the Warriors. Stop it.
I think
Myles Garrett is a veteran.
They had their opportunity to strike big and get a lot of stuff back for Brandon Aiyuk, and they messed that up.
They were flirting with a lot of teams. Remember, the Patriots were flirting with them. And Brandon Aiyuk saying, I don't want to go there because they don't have a quarterback. Well, Drake May looks pretty freaking good. The Cleveland Browns, another team.
How different would an extra second, third, and a fourth rounder for Aiyuk, hypothetically, and cap space feel for the Niners right now?
It'd feel incredible. But this is, again, goes back to why the Rams are where they're at and why the Niners are where they're at, the forward-thinking type of moves that a Les Snead does. And this is what I was getting at overall when I started this conversation was, what have been the biggest trades in sports the last, let's go, 6-7 years that have actually resulted in a championship? Like
Matt Stafford.
Okay, Matt Stafford, Los Angeles Rams trading Jared Goff to the Detroit Lions.
The sign and trade, Jalen Brunson might end up being one.
You know what? I haven't even considered that. That's a good
Fox
one.
might end up being one.
That's not bad.
I mean, they're not the headliner. Fox is not the headliner for the Spurs, but he was just recently traded there.
I think that's a great point. You know what? De'Aaron Fox, I didn't give enough credit. He actually had a really good Game 7.
Yeah.
He did. You got to give him credit there. His shot was there.
And I would say, obviously, the trade for Mookie Betts.
Yep.
Has netted them multiple championships.
So that's two LA teams.
Okay. Trades that have netted championships for sure. Well, the Philadelphia Eagles traded for A.J. Brown and eventually won a championship.
I will take that.
I'm sure you find other guys on that team, but he's one of the more headliners.
I got one more.
Seattle made a deadline deal for
Rashid Shaheed.
Yeah, but that's not, I don't think that's of the magnitude.
Although he was a baller in that divisional round game.
But I don't think it was, the end all be all for them.
There's one other team.
But I think the Russell Wilson trade set up their championship team.
Oh, that's interesting.
Because you get multiple picks and you have the ability to draft Witherspoon and some of the other guys that they have.
I don't hate that. The only other trade I wanted to get to that directly resulted in a championship, and I know we like to laugh at it because it was a COVID year, was the Anthony Davis trade.
Yeah.
It's
a good one.
3 LA teams.
It's a good one.
In 3 different sports that have gone after the big fish, gotten them in their uniform, and immediately translated to a championship. Anthony Davis with the Lakers, Mookie Betts with the Dodgers, and Matt Stafford with the Los Angeles Rams.
And I mean, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander might be one of the best trades in the NBA in the last, I don't know how long.
And the Clippers did the opposite.
Exactly.
Because that's what the Clippers do.
But it ended up being one of the, it sparked everything that they've done.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
It's their Herschel Walker move.
It is. And that set them up. And they have 2 more picks in the top 15 this year. If they want to move those, move up, trade out of them, go bring in Giannis, get rid of, they have so many different moves that they could do. And this is why it gets frustrating if I'm a Bay Area sports fan, particularly as San Francisco 49ers fans waking up this morning, it does feel like I'm hamstrung right now because of the lack of young assets on this team. Because the Lakers, who did they get rid of? Basically everyone. Brandon Ingram, Josh Hart, a boatload of picks. Yeah. They ended up getting, I think, a top 3 or 4 pick in the lottery that year that they moved off from.
Randall, Lonzo.
They gutted everyone for just Anthony Davis. They were willing to say, you know what? This market needs stars.
I think it was worth it.
It was absolutely worth it. Now, people were going to say, like, oh, they owe the Mickey Rouse ring. Whatever. They got a championship ring.
Those other guys has really done
nothing.
Randall will be on his 5th team soon.
I mean, Josh Hart's probably been, like the best role player out of the bunch. Brandon Ingram, I think, had a good year with the Toronto Raptors. He's finally kind of living. The
Knicks are unique in that they made trades for Karl Anthony Towns, a sign and trade for Jalen Brunson, and Mikal Bridges.